Well, are you there? Are we going to try this again? I hope I don't have to read the whole book twice, okay? But anyway, there's this, and here's my clapboard. This will be chapter 20, part 1, take 2, harumph. And as these things go, this one will never be as good as the first one. Okay, but this will be good in its own way. We're on chapter 20, just part 2. These are we've got several Enochian magic chapters coming up, which is kind of timely because I'm in the middle of actually halfway through a series of Enochian Zoom classes on every other Friday night. So I'm Enochi'd up. So here it is, Enochian Spirit, excuse me. It's called Enochian Spirits, First Worshipper, Friendly Visit. The lodge was growing steadily, and the new members were understandably anxious to meet and study magic. I scheduled a weekly class in our home and began organizing my thoughts concerning the fundamentals of magic. It was finally sinking in that there were some people in the world who actually knew less about the subject than I. The class was attended by some very bright people. Now I've got a footnote here. My role as class master was more as a host and moderator. Several members of the class were already far more knowledgeable than I in astrology and other occult sciences. With nostalgic pride, I can tell you that alumni of this class have since become celebrated luminaries of our modern occult magical subculture, including the deliciously diabolical S. Jason Black. And there is a picture of S. Jason Black and I, or S. Jason Black and me, at a Heroes and Villains party. Constance helped me shave my head, and S. Jason Black came, guess who I was, and S. Jason Black came as the Green Hornet. He's sipping a cocktail there through a straw. Actually, S. Jason Black was David Paul Wilson, David P. Wilson, who I talk about a little later in this chapter. Class was attended by some very bright people, and in short order I realized that in order to stay one jump ahead of them, I was going to have to study hard and be resourceful. By the time we mastered the pentagram and hexagram rituals and had consecrated our elemental weapons, it was clear I was going to have to come up with something dramatic. I combed my gems from the equinox for something exotic and different and turned to Liber Chanokh. And the full title is Liber Chanokh, a brief abstract of the symbolic representation of the universe derived by Dr. John Dee through the scrying of Sir Edward Kelly. It was full of magic squares, charts, diagrams, and a series of calls in a strange angelic language. If the class wanted exotic, this certainly looked like it. And at our next meeting, I announced that we would soon begin a 6-week Enochian magic workshop. Now, I have a footnote on Enochian magic. I think I'll go ahead and read that. Between 1582 and 1589, Dr. John Dee, 1527 through 1608, English magus and mathematician and astrologer to Queen Elizabeth I, Together with clairvoyant Edward Kelly, 1555 to 1597, in an attempt to communicate with the angelic hosts of God, as did the patriarch Enoch, hence the term Enochian, involved themselves in an amazing series of magical workings. Their efforts yielded a wealth of magical information, including a detailed dissection of the phenomenal and spiritual worlds, and an angelic language used to evoke particular spirits and access the various levels of heaven. Dee kept copious notes, many of which survive today. Much Enochian material was incorporated in the Golden Dawn's Adeptus Minor program. Crowley's Liber Hanoch was a digest of that material. At the time, the material in Gems and Regarde's Golden Dawn was the only information I had on the Enochian. I read through the text several times and came to the conclusion that I'd understand the material better if I constructed the various pieces of Enochian equipment. These consist primarily of 4 elemental tablets, one each for fire, water, air, and earth, and one smaller tablet of union or spirit tablet. Each elemental tablet is composed of 156 truncated pyramids. Each pyramid or square is lettered on the top, and each of the 4 sides is colored to represent an element, planet, or zodiac sign. Now, excuse me for a second. This is an old classic Weiser book bag. I've got 4 of them, and inside of them, I've got 4 elemental tablets. Now, this is the Earth tablet. Maybe I'll get us some light. And I don't know if you can see the 4 white crosses in the top. It's broken up into 4 sections. And you can see, basically, that this is truly the Earth tablet. When you look at it from this side, you can see how green it looks. And when you look at it from this side, you can see the subangles or the subquarters broken up into red, blue, yellow, and green for the subdivisions. And then from the top, you can see that that was like that, and from the bottom like that, and they're colored on top. And each of them have an Enochian letter. There we go. There we go. What forces I could unleash. Okay. There. Hopefully that'll help you understand what's coming up. Okay. Each pyramidal square is home to an angel or spirit whose characteristics are determined by the specific elemental mix as indicated by the colors on the side. The letter on the top of the pyramid is the angel's name, or a letter in the name of a larger angel. For example, if Pyramid A is colored yellow for air on 2 sides and blue for water on the other 2 sides, it houses an elemental being named A, whose character and scope of intelligence is defined by and limited exclusively to the elemental natures of air and water. Using the classic elemental images of the cherubic beasts, that is, the lion for fire and the eagle for water, and the humanesque angel for air, and the bull for earth, Angel A could symbolically be represented as a sphinx with a man's head and body for air and an eagle's wings and legs for water. Obviously, such an elemental spirit would have a very narrow range of duties in the universe. On the material plane, these duties might regulate the behavior of clouds or mists. In the human psyche, they may play a specific part in the dynamics of our emotional life. Then, let's say that right next to Angel A lives Angel B, who is half earth, black or green, and half fire, red. Angel B would naturally have a drastically different characteristic than Angel A, and using the cherubic images, it would have a head and body of a bull for earth, and the paws and legs of a lion for fire. Keeping this in mind, we see that each Enochian elemental tablet has, first of all, 156 angels with a one-letter name. There they are. This is the elemental tablet of Earth, 156 little angels, little elemental angels with a one-letter name. And each of those have very specific attributes and responsibilities in the universe. However, we don't stop there. Enochian elemental spirits are modular. They fit together just like the elements fit together in infinite combinations and ratios to create the phenomenal universe. Angel A can join with its neighbor, Angel B, to create Angel AB, whose characteristics are more complex than either A or B alone. Angel AB, in turn, can join with other squares to form bigger and even more intricate beings, etc. The more I learned about the Enochian system, the more thrilled I became at its divine perfection. The laws that dictate the ordering of the elements and the organization of the squares are examples of Hermetic logic at its most sublime. The class was enthralled. Most members set to work painting their own tablets. As complex as the project appears to be at first, the simple act of coloring the tablets makes the method to the madness easy to understand. In the meantime, I was determined to build a full set of three-dimensional Enochian tablets. Up until this time, Enochian magicians simply drew the pyramids on a flat surface. I mentioned my plan to Dr. Regarde, who counseled strongly against it. "They're dangerous enough when they're flat," he cautioned. "Don't give them dimensional elbow room." Now, as much as I respected the good doctor, I really didn't see how it would hurt to fully manifest the tablets in 3D. In fact, I thought it might be the reason Regarde's Enochian spirits were so crabby is because he had them all squished up into those flat tablets. I commissioned Kurt, who we remember from a previous chapter, who owned a table saw, to cut 644 wooden truncated pyramids with 1-inch bases. I bought sandpaper, sealant, and acrylic paints. As soon as the pyramids were cut, I went to work like a man possessed. I got up early in the morning to sand, seal, and paint. I became totally engrossed in the project. Time lost all meaning to me. Every morning I found myself arriving at my job later than the morning before. The tablets were all I could think about. Each day I stole away from work a little earlier so I could get home to sand, seal, and paint. Soon I was sanding and sealing and painting all day long because I no longer had a job to distract me. I didn't care. The tablets were indescribably beautiful. I was so proud. I finished the small tablet of union first, then the elemental tablet of earth. And that's the very one right there. I couldn't wait until the other tablets were finished. I was determined we would try out the earth tablet at the next class. And that's where we're going to stop today with this second take of chapter 20, part 1. I was cautioned or at least reassured by my good friend Venice that we should probably just have given the first one a few more hours for Facebook to process it. But I hope that's the case anyway. But if it isn't, at least a few more people get to see this one live. So thank you guys very much. Once again, be good to yourself. Be good to each other. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law. Love under will. Bye-bye.